and I want to bring some clarity to the P. Diddy trial. I'm going to bring some clarity to the P. Diddy trial and why did it go the way that it went? We're going to talk about that thing. Don't think it was no big mistake or nothing like that as far as the Diddy trial. Why was Diddy found not guilty, right? And we're going to look at a few things, but with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started talking about the P. Diddy trial. As y'all know, man, we can go back to, I'm going to go back to a little bit before the trial, right? There was a lot of rumors on, people making videos all on the internet, man. On YouTube, people making videos about Diddy. He do his artist wrong or this or that. But it's a lot of rumors about a lot of people. It got so heavy about Diddy doing this and Diddy, he did it with Tupac. It was so much stuff, rumors about P. Diddy. So that kind of groomed the public to kind of dislike him. It was already East-West Coast beef. So it's some people down on the West Coast that didn't even like him. It's some people on the East Coast that didn't like Diddy. But there was a lot of misleading information dealing with the trial that was put out to the public, right? And that's why people were so surprised when Diddy was found not guilty. As you enter this building, make sure you hit up the chat. Let me know you're in the building. As you enter this live, hit up the chat. Let me know you're in the building. So, as I mentioned, it was a lot of rumors. Hey, Dr. J, thank you. Welcome to the live. Appreciate you. So, as rumors was getting heated up, eventually the Cassie videotape came out. The gruesome tape when P. Diddy was beaten on Cassie. And when people saw that, it was like, Diddy, you done. You did the worst thing. You did the worst thing that you can do. Thank you, Dr. J. Dr. J says double tap that screen as you enter the chat. Double tap the screen as you enter this chat. So as that videotape came out, people was done with him. And so for me, the case started on social media, even before the feds got involved. And they used a lot of stuff, or some of the stuff from the videos that people made. I got information on Diddy and I got that. A lot of the stuff started in social media. So after the Cassie tape came out, shortly after that, what happened? The feds, Homeland Security, they raided 3 of Diddy's homes. They raided a home in LA, they raided a home in New York, and they raided a home in Miami. And the rumors were put out, even though the feds didn't correct it. The rumors that was put out that there were some freak off tapes, and everybody's involved in the tape, from they naming all these famous people from Oprah to they just naming people that were supposedly on these tapes, right? And that's why I named this misleading information in the Diddy case. They had people thinking that it was parties because Diddy was known to have parties, that these parties had them situations going on, which is far from the truth. Even as proven in court documents, this is not the case. But the goal of the feds was to paint him in the worst light, meaning paint Diddy in the worst light ever. So they were associating with his parties. Everybody knew he had parties. That's why you had some celebrities saying, I've been to Diddy parties. I've never seen that. Because those were not a part of his parties. That stuff that he was doing on the videotapes, those were with girlfriends, and that's his preferences. That's what he does. But they try to act like this was a global thing. Another misleading, where information was misleading because the feds wanted that information to get out. They didn't attempt to correct it. So the goal was to paint this man as an animal. And I do understand that the beating of Cassie was a travesty. That should never have happened. But let me say this. P. Diddy was a junkie, man. Even though he was wealthy, a successful businessman, he was on drugs. So he was not operating in the best mindset. And it's still no excuse for putting your hands on anybody. He was in total violation of that. But I want to tell y'all, P. Diddy was not being charged for domestic violence. But they used that as a catalyst to get people to allow the government to bury this man on some trumped up charges. Because when people saw that tape, they said, man, he guilty of everything. And they just threw him. It was like he was thrown away. That was misleading information. When they came out with the charges, I want y'all to be honest with me. When the federal government came out with the charges of trafficking, in my mind, I'm thinking of people tied up, and that's what the government wanted us to think. Why? So when they buried him, and because the goal was to take his businesses, his finances, and to do all that to him, nobody would question it. So they came up with these charges, and then we already know he having these parties. Those situations, when they call freak-offs, were not a part of those parties that he had. Big time name people were at these parties. These people, that didn't go down at that party. That's why people were like, how y'all say y'all didn't know what was going on? Those were separate parties with his girlfriends and those exotic dancers that he had. Those were something totally different, right? But they had the public thinking that this man was running the organ. He got all these businesses and yet still got time to traffic women. That's so far from the truth, and is a sad situation. And the third, case when they came with the Mann Act was used on a black man, Jack Johnson, the boxer, man. That race is a racist law called the Mann Act. I want y'all to do some research on the Mann Act. It's MANN Act, also known as it was to help prevent black men from messing with white women and transporting them across state lines for sex. Now, just to give you a little history on the boxer. Now, Jack Johnson was the first black or African American heavyweight champion, and he was beating white boys up and down the highway. They couldn't handle him. Now, one thing, I think one fight in Jack, when he was beating them so bad, they ran up in there and stopped the fight because he was pulverizing the man. But anyway, long story short, Jack Johnson had a white girlfriend, right? They said she was also a sex worker, so I don't know if he was pimping her out or what the specific situations was. But as a boxer and as rich man back then, he would travel across state lines. Well, his girlfriend was white. They got him on the Mann Act, Jack Johnson, the black boxer, because this law was specifically against black men who traffic white women. That was the goal. Well, anyway, they got him, right, for that charge. When they charged him, I think if he did get arrested, he bailed out and he dipped. So he was on a run, but they did catch him like in 1920, and he did 1 year and 1 day. So that's the foundation of the charge that he was found guilty of, that Diddy was found guilty of, the Mann Act, right? It don't take no trafficking ring to be convicted of a Mann Act. All it takes is for you to have, it can be one individual. It doesn't even matter. If you bringing them over for the sake of, they say paying for sex, or now some people was saying, hold on, we fly women in all the time, right? You ain't careful, because this can apply even when you fly women in. You got a little bit of money, you go from state to state, you like your girl in Ohio. Okay, this particular time you want to mess with the one from Ohio. So you fly her into wherever you at, right? You have sex, and the ballers, they break bread. So whether you directly paying or you indirectly paying, you can be charged for the Mann Act. And that's what they got Diddy on. But they had us thinking, because they would allow misleading information to be put out. Because I thought, like, why are you doing this, Diddy? You bad enough you beat the girl on tape, you on video beating her. You trafficking all this money you got. that was not the case. Diddy did not traffic anybody, but they got him on when him and Cassie will go to different places, and also if he sent for these sex workers to come in and they did whatever thing they did. But I need y'all to research the Mann Act, man. Because if you somebody who fly people in and y'all go beyond, y'all take it there, you give them a little money, you paying some rent, you paying a bill or whatever, you can be charged with the Mann Act. And they just went extreme with Diddy because they thought everybody was going to turn their back on Diddy, especially after the beating tape. So the feds try to get him with RICO, right? They try to get him with trafficking, and they threw the Mann Act. They was going to bury Diddy, and if he got found guilty of the RICO, then they was going to go after his assets. But God saw another plan. I'm not saying the man perfect. Diddy does need help, and hopefully he will get it. Hopefully this will be awakening for him, because everybody deserves another chance, man. Even the victims, those who were the victims, man, they were not innocent. Some of them, according to the court records now, I'm not shaming no victims. Don't get me wrong. Not shaming any victims. I'm just bringing information, man. And my stance is, I'm not looking for permission to bring information. If I see information need to be brought, I'm going to bring the information. You take it how you take it. But what happened to Diddy, man, was crazy. It was unjust. And that's why the jury saw through the government's case and found Diddy not guilty. Because they had us thinking they mess with children. Because there was so many videos about Usher, about the other singer. It was videos about this. A lot of that be lies. And then the government fed into that and said, yeah, this is a good chance to bury this man, right? Because the statute of limitation for abuse was already passed. So even with the video, they couldn't just charge him with domestic violence because the statute of limitation has already passed. I'm also going to speak about the R. Kelly case. I always thought, because the media tear you up, they're not going to just put the truth out. That's why they say fake news. The media will eat you alive. Even with R. Kelly, right? He was not convicted of messing with minors. I'm like, what? I thought R. Kelly, because, the videotapes and this and that, I thought he was convicted. They convicted R. Kelly on? The Mann Act. It was some female, same situation. So R. Kelly didn't even have a ring to where he was transporting people, locking people up, because that's what they'd do to us, man. They'd put it in our mind, and we so quick to turn backs on our people. We quick to do that. And I'm not saying champion them and encourage, don't listen to his music. Listen, man, if I want to listen to an R. Kelly song, that's what I'm gonna do, man. I don't allow nobody to say who I like or dislike or none of that, man. My goal is to look at the facts and deal with it that way. But R. Kelly is in jail right now, dealing with the RICO and the Mann Act. The same thing that they tried to get Diddy on. But God had another plan for that, man, because what they was going to do, they was going to leave Diddy naked, leave his mom naked, leave them children naked. That's what the government had plans to do. And they didn't care if you understood the truth or not. That was their goal. They wanted to take that man's, all that man's assets. But God, had another plan. They decided to give Diddy another chance. But my thing is, know who your friends are, man. Trouble is easy to get into, and in a lot of cases, hard to get out. But it's just that he did have enough money to fight the case. And also, even beyond the money, he had a jury that was able to look at facts. He had a jury that was able to look at the facts. There's no way P. Diddy should be in jail without no bail. From the beginning, he should have had the same rights and opportunity, right? Not to be in jail without bail. That's why I tell people, when it comes to us, man, they handle us different. We need to know that. Even when you come out, come up. Even when you be successful, understand you still a black man. And the rules are always different. Not sometimes. they're always different for us. The rules are always different for us, man. Make sure you drink your H2O or put some type of fluids in your body. It's a hot one. So let me just throw this in. When I say the rules are always different for us, President Trump has been convicted of 34 felonies, right? Serious crimes. But you had people come out and say, no, we don't want to interfere with the election. What they meant is they knew it was a big plan and they wanted to make sure he got in there. So they said, no, we're not going to sentencing. We're going to hold it off. That's why I say it was unjust not to give P. Diddy, at least let that man have a bail. That's part of the Constitution, you know, to rights to a bail, a jury, all that stuff is part of the Constitution. But they did not give it to Diddy. And he took on the feds and he took on his haters and he won. Diddy took on the feds and he took on his haters and he won, man. But it was a lot of misleading information. There was no sexual assault when it came to P. Diddy. Everything was with willing adults. There was no children when it came to Diddy, man. There was no children when it came to Diddy, man. So that's just the information the misleading information that was allowed to get out. Some of it was purposely put out to actually get the public to turn their back on another black man, right? Just want y'all to just be open, man. Don't take everything that they give us, especially people who don't care about us as a nation. We trust them for everything. So a black person can tell us something 100 times and it'll take a white man to come and we're like, oh, okay, you right. We got to stop that mentality, man. And first of all, open our eyes, man. We do have to take accountability for our actions, man. We cannot do anything, man. Those are laws from the Most High that we're not supposed to do anything. That's why they got the 10 Commandments or whatever, you know, religious. They got guidelines. I'm going to just call it should be parameters and guidelines that we must live by. I'm not saying be perfect because no human being is perfect. But I'm just saying, govern yourself. Once we govern ourselves, man, we really won't have to be governed. Everything else will be hate, as we do experience that in this country. You know, white supremacy, that stuff is real. I'm not going to sit here in front like it ain't real. That's as real as a heart attack, man. White supremacy, hatred, the fake superiority, because those who act to be superior, they far from superior. You know, black people are not inferior, right? We are made complete. When God said, let there be light and created man and all that, we was in the mix, man. We was in the mix because nobody can make us, but through us can be made other people. That's as far as I'm gonna go with that. But I'm just saying, brothers and sisters, stop thinking you inferior. I know there's a lot of stuff that come at us, man. There's a lot of attacks, you know, with everything you see from C. Jane Run, from being a little kid in these books. That's a part of superiority, right? To make them appear to be superior and everything else is inferior. And every time they introduce us, right, we're in an inferior state. So just stop them lies, man. And even like I said with this case was misleading and it had a lot of us fooled, man. But I just want to bring clarity to y'all. And that's why a lot of people are upset. He did all this. What do you mean by all? What did he do, man? We know he did the tape because that was on the tape. He beat up his girlfriend, but he did not have no sex trafficking ring. He was not mess with little boys and little girls, right? He was a junkie. He was using drugs. He did those things. But just like we do when white people fall and they get caught up with the opioids or any drugs that they get caught up with, we think about prevention. We think about rehabilitation. So that's the same mindset we should have with Diddy, man. Diddy deserves another opportunity. He deserves a chance to be rehabilitated and, you know, reunite with the family and get his life together. This is a lesson from the Most High to him. It should be, because he made it out. A lot of people don't make it out of the feds. That's why when Diddy returned to the jail, he got a standing ovation, man. Because even somebody of Diddy's caliber, it's hard to beat the feds, man. It's hard to beat the feds. But me personally, I'm thankful that he did make it out, because I'm trying to tell you, they was going to take all of his assets. They were going to take all of his assets, because that was the goal. They wanted to tear who this black man think he is. And it was more about that, man. And people still continue to try to, these conspiracy theories. Oh, he killed Tupac. Listen, man, let me address that real quick. The night Tupac got killed, right? There was a fight. There was a Mike Tyson fight in Vegas. In the fight, while they was at the fight, Death Row and Tupac jumped on somebody. That somebody that they jumped on and Tupac was kicking and all that was a guy who goes by the name Orlando. Orlando was a known Crip member. I don't see this Crip member getting beat down, right, by Death Row and a group who's associated with the Bloods. I don't see that happen without them retaliating. So even the suspect that they got in custody, been talking, making videos, he stated that Orlando was his nephew. They was all in the car together and they drove by next to Suge Knight and Tupac. They the ones killed. But you see what the social media do to you, man. Lies upon lies. Did he pay to have him? How much did he know that they was going to have a fight that night? Be realistic. That's what we dealing with, man. When people hate you, they put all kind of lies on you, man. So that was a lie from the pits of hell, man. Diddy did not pay to have Tupac killed. And then they also did it with his baby mom, the mother of his twins and his son. Diddy got her killed. Somebody gets sick. Diddy did it. I'll be sure it went to some sickness, right? And it was bloggers, because people don't care. All they want is clicks. All they want is likes. And he did more than something. He's reaping what he sowed. Lori said whatever he did, and he did more than something. He's reaping what he's sowing. Okay. Thank you, Lori. I really appreciate that. But see, all I wanted to say, I wanted us to be clear. Some of the stuff is just stuff that was put out on the internet. Even with his baby's mom, Kim Porter, there was reports. Diddy did it. I'll be sure got sick. Diddy put him in the hospital. Jamie Foxx got sick. And it was reports. Because if we believe the social media stuff, they continue to put out so much stuff. Diddy did that to Jamie Foxx. We need to stop with these lies, man. Why? Because people's lives are on the line, man. We going beyond entertainment, man. And if you want to be an ethical, reporter or even a content creator, man, stop putting out the lies, man. Because it almost cost that man his life. And there's people that still think, well, he did this to that. We don't know that, man. We don't know that. But we so quick but thank you, Lori. I really appreciate that. We so quick to try to bury one another, man. Them rumors, that hate, that stuff is real, man. That stuff is real, and it almost took that man's life. Nobody cared about his kids. Nobody cared about, his mom. They was going to take his business. And let me go to Cassie. Cassie came to Diddy initially with a shakedown. She initially asked for money. I got a book. I'm going to tell all about the freaky stuff we do. I got a book and put it up. Diddy like, go ahead and do it. But Diddy didn't understand, right? That she wasn't playing. He was calling her bluff. And when he didn't give her the money she asked for, that's when they got that videotape show. And from there, she knew that the community and everybody was going to turn their back on Diddy because of that beatdown. I can see, there's no way to defend that videotape. It was messed up. But remember that he was a junkie. She was a junkie. They both were on drugs. Some of the people close to him were on drugs, right? But just like we sympathize with little white boys and little white girls that get caught up on addiction, and we have good names for the opioid crisis, and we want to treat it now as a health issue, but in the 80s and early 90s, when people was messing with drugs, it was a criminal issue. So all I'm saying is how we looked at, man, and we got to stop falling for the okie doke. They can easily divide and conquer us, man. It's just easy. All they got to do is put lies on it, and we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it. But I'm just saying to my content creators, man, be more responsible with the information you put out. Because you got people hating people for no reason. I'm going to go back to y'all, man. You know the movie, The Color Purple? Color Purple is a good movie. Do you know people hated Danny Glover because he played a role? I felt some kind of way because I'm seeing the images. This dirty, low-down Joker and how he was treating Whoopi, which was his girlfriend. We're not even considering that he's an actor. This is a role that he's playing. I'm saying we got to do better with our thinking, man. That's all I'm saying. We got to do better with the way we think and how we react and who we let shape and mold our minds, man. Remember, we were captives over here, or our forefathers and mothers were captives. If you really study the research and see the hate that was put out against African Americans, how they treated us, there was no love, man. The beatings, the lynchings, all that stuff. And now we're going to trust them with information to benefit us. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm just glad I was able to see through this, that Diddy should have been found not guilty of all of those charges. He should have been found not guilty. I'm not ashamed to say it because I got a clearer picture of the information. And what y'all need to do, then look up these federal cases and you'll be able to see the whole thing of all the testimony and the information. Nobody was sex trafficked. These were willing grown people, Cassie and the Jane Doe, who they was in it. It was all good just a week ago, like Jay-Z said. It was all good just a week ago. But that's the thing, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I wanted to bring this information to y'all, man. Let the truth be the truth, man. Research and study the truth for information about stuff, man. Even if y'all want to look up R. Kelly case, man, look up these federal cases, man. There's a federal website, pacer.com, where you can get the cases and all the information involved in that, and you ain't just got to rely on the information that they give to us. They allow misinformation when they want it to be, but when they don't want the misinformation, they will step in and correct the misinformation. But when it comes to us, in order to hang us and to lynch us, they're going to allow misinformation to get everybody to turn their backs on, I ain't going to say a good person, because evidently by abusing drugs and abusing people, abusing himself, he was not a good person in that instance. But he did help a lot of people, and that's the truth, man. You can take that to the bank. If y'all have not done it, man, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified anytime I make a video. Anybody got any closing thoughts or ideas before I go, man? But Diddy should have been found not guilty on all the charges. He should have been released on bond. But this is a real wake-up call for Diddy, man. And it's also a wake-up call for some of us, man. Make better decisions. That's the bottom line. Anything you do in life is about growth and development. It's about growth and development. Don't wish harm on your brother, man. Don't wish harm on your sister, man. But try to deal with the facts, man. Because there's many lies. There's a lot of lies in the world. It could be lies put out about you and your life. But I want to thank y'all, man, for the continued support. Thank y'all. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done it. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure you stay hydrated. I got that good H2O. You drink what you want, man. I'm not judging anybody. I want to thank y'all, man, for y'all patience. Thank y'all for listening in. I appreciate y'all, man. This is Mark V's Perspective. Thank y'all again, man. Check me out. Y'all be safe until next time, man. Peace.